Breaking news exclusively from Blue Eye Media.
And now from our global friendly partners at MeidasTouch.
Major red flags are surfacing about the shooting that took place near the White House yesterday, following Donald Trump announcing that he was going to be entering into a deal with Iran. Donald Trump saying previously that he was not going to his son's wedding. Instead, he was going to stay at the White House and not also go to Bedminster, which was odd for him to be in the White House to begin with. And then there was the shooting, and we heard 30 shots were fired, and then we learned that the shooter was killed, and now we're getting a lot more information, and we're going to break it down for you. And I'm not getting into conspiratorial world here. I'm just going to bring out the facts. And so let's just talk about what went down. But first, we should start off with, what has Donald Trump been doing after this incident took place, what he did after the White House correspondent incident, what he's been consistently doing using it to push this golden ballroom. This follows at the end of last week, the United States Senate killing the $1 billion for the ballroom, saying they and the Democrats, no one's funding this $1 billion ballroom that Trump said was going to be privately funded. And so now Donald Trump's like, look, because of what just happened, this is why we need my ballroom. This is what he also said after the White House Correspondents' Dinner incident as well. Here's what he posted. Then I want to talk about the shooter, how the shooter was actually someone who was known to the Secret Service, known very well to the Secret Service. I want to then show you the location where the shooting took place to show you it really wasn't all that close to the White House. Then I want to show you some other red flags, and I want you to assess this for yourself. And again, we're not veering off into conspiratorial land. We're just going to go fact by fact. Here's what Donald Trump posted late last night about 12:23 a.m. his time. This is what he posted. Thank you to our great Secret Service and law enforcement for the swift and professional action taken this evening against a gunman near the White House, who had a violent history and possible obsession with our country's most cherished structure. The gunman is dead after an exchange of gunfire with Secret Service agents near the White House gates. This event is 1 month removed from the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting and goes to show how important it is for all future presidents to get what will be the most safe and secure space of its kind ever built in Washington, D.C. The national security of our country demands it. Again, he's pushing for the ballroom. You'll recall during the White House Correspondents' Dinner incident, he immediately started posting, we need a ballroom. Then all of his influencers posted, the MAGA influencers, ballroom, 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 ballroom. Then he filed legal documents in a case where he was banned from building the ballroom, although that order stayed pending the ruling by the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. And then this motion said, because of the shooting that took place at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, this ballroom is needed to protect the national security of this country. And so now that the Senate has killed the Golden Ballroom, Donald Trump is now using this incident and saying, look, another assassination attempt. Look, we need a Golden Ballroom. Let's dig in. Let's get into the facts. Let's do what we do here at the MeidasTouch Network. So the suspect in the shooting who was killed near the White House, not on the White House, near, but not all that close. I'll show you where it was in a second. A 21-year-old named Nasire Best. He was someone who believed that he was Jesus Christ. He was someone who suffered from very serious mental illness. He was pronounced dead at the George Washington University Hospital. He was known to be in this area this DC area for about 18 months. And he would frequently go to the White House and make threats against the Secret Service there. They knew this guy, and they knew him to be someone who suffered from mental illness and real kind of serious delusions. There was another incident in July 2025 where he tried to get entry into the White House and was arrested nearby. And he would always say, "I'm Jesus, let me in." And this this happened not just that July, this happened quite frequently with this guy, and they knew him. The Secret Service would see him, they would recognize him, they had him on a list, they had his photo, because he would threaten, he would make threats quite frequently. Take a look at the map right here. Look where the incident was, just so you can see for yourself. The corner of 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. This is outside of the White House complex. Look, just so you can see where the White House is, look where the marker that is right here, that you can see that he was pretty far away. I mean, from where the White House is to where he was, there was multiple buildings that are in front of it. And so this wasn't actually all that close to the White House. But again, the way it was being represented was that this was like right there on the White House. And look, you could clearly hear the sounds of shots fired, because overhead, those 30 shots that you heard were the snipers and other Secret Service who were shooting from the White House out. But in terms of the guy, he apparently shot maybe a few times, at the Secret Service. And that's, and that's basically the incident. There's someone else who was seriously injured as well in this incident. And I'll share this with you right here, just so you can see the 3 reporters. This is where they heard the shots fired. But the shots fired that they hear, that's actually coming from the Secret Service, is where the shots are being fired. Here, play this clip.
What is that?
What was fascinating is what was going on at TV at that exact moment. On state regime media, which called itself Fox, what were they reporting at that time? They were reporting that Donald Trump's deal with Iran is terrible, and they were being very critical. This is what was going on state regime. Let's play this clip.
It feels like we're back to square one.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be an important component. We know the president is very, very strict on that point. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. So I think that any deal is going to include that. I don't think it's going to be enough just for the strait.
I agree. Without
I don't know
that,
if that's a full win.
Yeah, no deal.
Yeah, then we're back to where we started.
And then right after, the coverage shifted to talking about the shooting near the White House. Here, play this clip.
Hi, Tommy. So we just got some new information from the White House. According to the press office, they said shortly after 6 p.m., an individual approached the Secret Service checkpoint outside the White House. This is at 17th and Pennsylvania Avenue, so just 1 block behind me. You can still see that there's a large police presence here. This involves the FBI, Secret Service, and of course, D.C. police. So the White House telling us that there was a preliminary investigation at this point that indicates that an individual approached. He removed a weapon from his bag and he began firing at police officers. Secret Service police officers then returned fire, striking that suspect, who was later transported to an area hospital where he later died. During the shooting, a bystander was also struck by gunfire. So the White House press team at this point telling us that it's really unclear if the bystander was struck by the suspect's initial gunfire or during the subsequent exchange of gunfire.
Now, as I noted before, Donald Trump was it was his son's wedding. So you had Don Jr. getting married to now his wife, Bettina, and Donald Trump posted on May 22nd, so on Friday, that he would not be going to his own son's wedding. And then he also canceled his trip to Bedminster and said he was going to spend the weekend in the White House, which is very odd and unusual for him. So he puts himself in the White House there as well. And you can say, well, Ben, that's because he was dealing with the issues of the war. Okay, well, I mean, he's done that before for Mar-a-Lago. And what issues was he dealing with? I mean, he entering into an agreement. He had to be at the White House for that. Okay, whatever. This is what Donald Trump said on May 22nd. While I very much wanted to be with my son, Don Jr., and the newest member of the Trump family, his soon-to-be wife, Bettina, circumstances pertaining to government and my love for the United States of America do not allow me to do it. I felt it's important for me to remain in Washington, D.C. at the White House during this important period of time. Congratulations to Don and Bettina. Just also notable, too, that Bettina's dad, Epstein class guy, So her dad was a guy, her dad died a while back, but her dad was a banker named Harry Loy Anderson. She's Bettina Anderson. Her dad is Harry Loy Anderson. And he's the guy who wrote a 1999 recommendation letter calling Jeffrey Epstein a gentleman of the highest integrity to help him gain tax breaks in operations tied to Epstein Island. Harry Loy Anderson led Palm Beach National Bank and Trust, where Epstein maintained accounts reflecting documented financial and social connections in elite Palm Beach circles from the late 1990s. And then I'll show you too, it was very odd also, the Secret Service clamped down on the press. And so you had like Patricia Vasconcelos, and she was there, and you'll see the Secret Service was like, get in there, get in. Let me show you what went down here. Here, play this clip.
Inside. Inside.
Okay, sir, we are journalists. I'm so sorry. We are journalists. We're just trying to record. I understand, sir. I understand, sir.
Inside.
Okay, sir, I understand.
And then just to show you again what was happening with some of these reporters from their different angles. This was how an NBC 10 Boston. This is how an NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Serskin responded to the incident that took place yesterday. Let's play this clip.
What is that? What is that?
Sounds like fire.
Today, but this obviously comes.
Here's how another individual responded. Let's play it.
Memorial Day since 2022. President Trump promises the prices will go down, but his grip on Republican support on Capitol Hill is weakening.
There's shots fired. We have to get down. Shots. There are shots fired. We are going down.
Yeah, we might be there. Go down. Okay.
I'm here.
And here's the kind of famous clip now of Selena Wang. And here's how she responded to what went down. Play this clip.
That President Trump has said a deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart.
No.
I'm not sure if you've been seeing this as well, but there are these, memes going around like this one right here. Breaking. The following bullets have been recovered at the scene of today's White House shooting. And the bullets spell anti-ballroom. And that was before Donald Trump made the ballroom post, because it's so predictable that he's just going to turn this into ballroom. And here's the thing. You may say, Ben, there's nothing red flags about it. It's a mentally ill guy who shot into the White House. But you see, when Donald Trump immediately turns this into, this is why I need my golden ballroom. That's why we have to call it. That's not normal behavior, that you keep having these bizarre purported assassination attempts that are actually nowhere near you, where you claim they're assassination attempts, and then you say, well, now I need my golden ballroom. Now I need my golden ballroom. They knew this guy. They knew this guy was a mentally ill person who had threatened the White House before. So of all times, now, right in the middle of all of this happening, right when you have everybody, criticizing this agreement with Iran, you have Donald Trump wanting the golden ballroom. He's hitting record lows in approval. He hit record lows in approval. The Senate's turning against him. They're against the 1.8 billion slush fund. It's like now this happens again with this guy of all people, a guy who believes he's Jesus Christ, who is well known to the Secret Service, who's now dead, by the way, so no one can ask him what's going on. This is another meme that I saw as well. Trump still spamming the assassination gimmick in 2026. And it's like, if you're just candid and transparent and make the disclosures and you don't lie about everything, then maybe people would be like, okay, but you lie about literally everything. And remember, heading into this weekend, Donald Trump was out there as the Senate was killing the golden ballroom and saying, we ain't funding this thing $1 billion at all. Here was Donald Trump saying that the ballroom was needed because it has hospital facilities or whatever. Here, play this clip.
I want to take a look at the complexity. These are all different rooms down here. They're building a hospital. They're building, it's a military hospital. They're building all sorts of research facilities, also meeting rooms and rooms that go hand in hand for the military using the ballroom. And the ballroom is really a shield and protecting all of the things that are built here. This goes, as you see, it's already up to the ground. This goes down very deep. You get a better view right over here. This is down because we've already done these floors. But these are already down 2 floors. That is down about 6 stories deep. That's big stuff. Normally when you build a ballroom, you build it flat. You just build a ballroom. It would have been built. The complexity of this, and again, it's all knit. It's all knit together between the drone proofing, the missile proofing we have, and the drone capacity upstairs. We can have all sorts of military up. Whether I hate to use the word snipers, but we have great sniper capacity. It's built for our snipers, not the enemy snipers, our snipers. And because of the height, we get a very clear view of everything all over Washington. Yeah.
And here he's asked, are you worried about ballroom funding when the Senate killed the ballroom funding? Here, play it.
Are you worried about ballroom? Some of them don't know how to win. I know how to win. I think I've proven that, haven't I?
Are you worried about the ballroom funding, Mr. President? There's speculation that could be...
The ballrooms are being built. I'm building the ballroom. You saw it yesterday, right?
Yeah.
We're building a great ballroom. It's been needed. It's a very military complex. The roof is actually a drone port. The roof of the ballroom is a drone port, and it gives great safety to everything below. So it's good. We're building a really great ballroom, but it's also a strong military position for our people.
Do you think tell us what your call with Netanyahu?
And then he talked about how he needs the ballroom because Xi Jinping will love it. Here, play it.
You wouldn't have done the job. You just wouldn't have done the job. You have too many events. Like if we have President Xi coming here, we have no place to put him. We had the king and the queen the other day, and we had 1,000 people wanted, and we ended up having 100 people sitting in the first ballroom. So they've been after this for a long time, but maybe more important is the safety element. This is a shield that protects everything that's inside, everything that's on top. And, you know, obviously the White House was built in 1792. You know, it's awfully hard to do that kind of a capacity that we did here. So this will give future presidents, but you have to understand, when this is finished, my term ends shortly after that. This is really for other presidents. This is not for me. This is my gift to the United States of America. I'm going to be able to use it very little because when it's finished, we're talking about 6 or 7 months.
And then finally, he's like, the ballroom is my shield. The ballroom is my shield. And then this happens this weekend, seriously. Here, let's play this clip.
I want to do things, but everything that you see and the money that's being put up to build the ballroom, and again, the ballroom, it's necessary for the ballroom to be built with what you see over here. It's all knitted. The air conditioning, the heating, the drone capacity, the shield. You know, the ballroom becomes a shield for everything that you see right here. Without that, they couldn't have this. They couldn't build the lower floors. Without that shield over the top of it, it's a shield that will totally protect what's downstairs. They have a lot of things going on downstairs, and some of it you see. This goes down 6 stories. You see 3 stories because it's already been built. This will be, very shortly, this will be in the form of, the roof goes along this line. Basically, it goes outside. You see where the wood is. You're going outside of that line, and then it goes straight out. And it's all protection, and everything's together. You can't build one without the other.
And then even in Iran, this is what they've already made their Lego video talking about what went down. And they're kind of mocking, you know, that this seems to be happening every other week for Donald Trump. Let's play it.
Yeah. Shots at the White House. Shots at the White House. Shots fired outside, 30 rounds in the night. Press going live, White House, lockdown tight. Something is cooking, you can feel it in the air. Netanyahu pulling strings, he wants this war, I swear. Reporters standing there doing their evening live. Suddenly shots ringed out, everybody died. Secret Service rushing, panic on the lawn. Trump inside the building while the chaos is on. White House on lockdown, counter snipers on the roof. Whole world watching, what the fuck is the truth? Timing feels crazy, but Iran on the brink. Bibi wants the war, that's what everybody thinks.
Drums of war beating, we hear them loud and clear. We do not want war,
but the choice ain't ours, my dear. Shots fired outside, 30 rounds in the night.
And here's what Senator Cassidy, who Donald Trump forced out, basically endorsed Senator Cassidy's primary opponent. And here's what Senator Cassidy said, one of the reasons he's not funding the ballroom. Let's play it.
There's no architectural plans. There is no environmentals. There's no engineering. There's no sense of, when we ask, how did it happen to cost exactly $1 billion? In my mind, that is, it could cost a lot less. It could cost a lot more. I just don't get it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know. You let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks everybody so much for watching.
Follow Blue Eye Media for exclusive insights and breaking news sources from global-friendly outlets that you won't get from the mainstream TV and radio outlets of America. Learn how to play the flute of the globe and learn the real